I'm not saying Spider-Man 3 was bad. I'm just saying that, 1 and 2 were just a lot better. Oh, hey, sports fans! Haroon Rashid, Khemeia Consulting, and welcome to Haroon's Hangout, the internationally featured show on marketing innovation. And we're making digital marketing simple, straightforward, and fun. Today, marketing innovation, why you need strong leadership. And I'm joined today by my partner in crime, Mr. John friggin' Stephenson. How's it going, John?
Hi Haroon, thank you for the introduction again. Amazing intro. I'm good, thank you. Very well today. Looking forward to the show and our discussion.
Awesome. And, we're a bit late today because Google Hangouts decided just to kind of play up on us, and we've had a lot of technical difficulties. So if the quality is a bit kind of bitty here and there, then please forgive us. But you know what? We're going to have a full video transcription available on the blog, and you can access that for free. So today then, John, we're going to be talking about all this thing about marketing, innovation, and leadership and all that kind of stuff. And I guess the way I want to start today was we announced a few weeks ago that I've been confirmed to speak at Thrive Yorkshire. Thrive Yorkshire! Shout out! And, they are a business growth conference, and they're all about practical tips. They're really big on that thing. So the thing was that I kind of thought about, and this is a sneak preview to what I'll be talking about, is that you could have the best marketing plan in the world. It could be a plan that could potentially make you literally millions of pounds. But unless you actually implement that thing, it is worthless. It is not worth a single penny. And I guess that what we're saying is, and what we've been saying in our content recently, is that great marketing doesn't just happen. It requires strong leadership to actually make it happen and to implement that thing. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. What do you reckon, John?
Yeah, that sounds great, Haroon. I agree with everything you've just said there. Ultimately, for me, marketing should support long-term sales results. And in order to do that, it needs to be mapped out. You've got to work out how to understand your customers and how they actually buy your product or services. But from a leadership perspective, I think it's really important that the leader, in terms of strategy, understands which marketing tools and techniques work for that business. And also, importantly, it's all going to be linked to the business objectives.
Absolutely, yeah. And I remember, I've told this story before, but for those people who may have not seen Haroon's Hangout before, we'll tell it again. And it was that, so I'm head of digital marketing, John is head of business insights at Khemeia. And our two departments work very closely together. And we were working on, oh, hey, oh. Just got a little text there. We were working on some marketing stuff, and we had loads of ideas. And one day, I think it was this year, wasn't it, John? I think one day we just said, hang on, we've just got to stop. And we just said, we've got loads of ideas from before, over the past months, that we've still not implemented yet. Now, they're great ideas, but we haven't done anything. We've not even started implementing these things. So we actually said, we're going to stop right here. We're going to go back, and we're going to implement everything bit by bit, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah,
and,
we did.
Yep.
No, sorry, Haroon, go on.
Sorry, there's a bit of a delay. But, to actually do that, it meant that we had to create that culture of execution. So we said that no matter how nitty-gritty this is going to be, no matter how time-consuming this is going to be, we are going to just do this, and we're going to keep going until the tasks are done. And as a result, we've managed to create nice systems. We've got smoother processes. We're a lot more efficient to the degree where we're not just getting one post out a week from a content perspective. We're now getting around 8 pieces of content out a week. That's just that's a lot of content.
Yeah, I agree. I was just going to jump in there and say, so really what we've done is we've looked at our systems and our processes, and you could call that an innovation process if you like, because what we've done is we've put in place 3 simple things: budget, measurement, adapt. But more importantly, we learn as we go along and we change things. So what we've worked on over the last 18 months is putting together a foundation block, which is our strategy really, all based on prospects and customers, and we've aligned that to how we market and what our business objectives are in terms of targets for each department for Khemeia Consulting. So from a marketing perspective, what we've done is we did some analysis, we looked at buyer personas, importantly we set some goals and KPIs, and we also looked at how we can develop, which is the exciting bit, some really wonderful ideas that we've got for campaign development.
Absolutely, and you know, it's funny because John, you by your very nature, I mean, because you're head of business insights, you love all the tools, the processes, the systems, and everything like that. And I think we balance each other out really well because I come at it from, I mean, I get all that, and I love it because that's what your strength is. And for me, I think it's been more about trying to galvanize the troops, I suppose, and to say, you know, this is the vision here. This is what Khemeia are going to do. I mean, do you even remember? It was we had a content meeting, and I said, I want us to do around 8 pieces of content a week. And it was like the feeling in the room, I think, was a bit like, oh, okay, all right. But we actually said, didn't we? A little bit
shock and awe.
Yeah, but there was a vision that had to be set somehow. So there had to be leadership to say that there is a vision here. And Ian Sharp, the head of Khemeia, talks about that business vision, doesn't he? And I guess from a marketing perspective, we had to have a marketing vision as well. But it was just to say, yeah, this is going to be a lot of hard work. This is going to really test us. We're going to, you know, we're going to make mistakes along the way. But this is what's going to separate us from everybody else. 8 pieces of content a week, that's really something. And this is not just creating content for the sake of creating content, by the way. This is like good quality content. So it was a matter of setting that vision, getting people bought into it, and the way that Khemeia responded, the Khemeia Avengers we call them, the way that they responded was amazing because everybody, it wasn't a case anymore of, well, we haven't got time to create content. People placed a value and a premium on the content, and they actually arranged their schedules, yourself included, so that you create content. So I know, like Ian, for example, he's the head of Khemeia. He's a busy guy. His diary probably rivals Obama's at the moment. Okay, but he has a show every Monday morning at 9 a.m. And now what he's done is he's put it in his diary, and so when he's scheduling meetings or consultancy or whatever, he doesn't schedule anything in at that point. He's like, no, the show is important. It needs to get out there. And it's because like everybody's bought into the vision. Everyone's bought in and we're all working together. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to talk about 6 steps that we've all put into play. Those really quickly are step number 1, strategy. Step number 2, content marketing. Step number 3, generating traffic. Step number 4, generating leads, and step number 5, managing leads, and last but not least, you've touched upon it already, analytics. So what we've looked to do with strategy is we've totally focused on the prospects and the customers, and what we've done is we've aligned that for each department. So we're looking at the business objectives. Off from that, in terms of content and pushing out 8 pieces of content a week, what we're trying to do, and we have had a lot of success with already, is step number 2, the content marketing, Haroon, which is all about trying to create and engage with our audience. And we've been very successful using SEO as a lead generator, and also as well getting prospects into our buying cycle.
We have, and I love the fact that you put strategy as number 1. And I think, personally, what I think is that a good marketing leader will place an emphasis on strategy, because once you get strategy right, everything else kind of flows from there. So your content will be good, you'll be able to generate leads much easier, you get better reach and better rankings and all that good stuff. And I think that we spent, I mean, me and you spent a long time, I mean hours, maybe even days worth of time, like actually refining our strategy, how to leverage, you know, how to rank in a much better way. How, you know, even things like, I mean, I can say this now, but I mean, you know, for some of the shows that we've done now, we're providing like a bit of a journalistic angle with what we do. That was all to do with strategy and how we share that and how we notify people and all. It just became a much easier thing. So I love the fact that you got strategy at the beginning there. The other thing, John, is that I think that, and we've talked about this again before, about the whole company culture. Because not every company is the same, not everybody has the same culture, but for what we're talking about as an innovation agency, it's important to have the right culture so that you can try ideas, you can make mistakes, because not everything that we've tried has worked, has it?
No, that's true. It's very much a learning curve, and one of the great things about working at Khemeia is that we'll try something and then we'll look at it, and this is why I go back to measurement, adapt to challenges. So Google Plus is a wonderful example of how we're constantly adapting and trying to improve the shows.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember Haroon's Hangout episode 1. It's not a pretty picture. It probably still isn't. But you're right. I mean, for me, what's really good is that we have a good culture at Khemeia, and we've talked about it again before, where we can come up with crazy ideas, or what may be deemed as crazy, or something that's different. Like, I remember the first time, do you remember when we did that first ever Darth Vader video? And if you haven't seen that, by the way, viewers,
I do, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, if in case you haven't seen it, viewers, we'll put it in the show notes. I think this YouTube channel reached its first 1,000 views. So we did a funny video with Darth Vader and some cake and all that kind of stuff. And when I went home, and the day that we released that, like, my family and friends were like saying, "Does your boss know that you did that?" And I'm like, "My boss wrote the script." What are you talking about? But the fact that we can do that, we have that freedom, I think is what I'm trying to say. We have that freedom to do things, to try things. Otherwise, if we just had that kind of culture where, no, we've always done it this way, this is our tradition, we don't change it, then you can't take risks. You can't grow as a business.
Yeah, agreed. I think the other strength as well is that we're experimenting as we go along. So in terms of step number 3, so you've got strategy, content marketing, generating traffic. Step number 3, we're also looking at what works and what doesn't work for us. So we're trying to drive value via various online channels. And one way we've had some success doing that is via blog posts. But one thing we quickly found out as a channel for us, as a Facebook doesn't work, Haroon.
No, in fact, I was at the Sharp End this week, and we were talking about that very thing, and we found that when we humanize the brand, at first we were just posting our content. Nobody was clicking, no one was liking or commenting or anything. But when we started sharing pictures of us goofing around in the office, we don't goof around, we work very hard. But when we took funny pictures, or we took pictures of just where we were, or when we're meeting people out and about, all of a sudden the likes and the comments went up, and that particular audience just wanted to see our human side, didn't they?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Cool. So let's go on to examples of good marketing leaders within a company. Now, you've been teasing me this morning and saying that you've got a good example which you think I'm going to like. So let's. What's a good example of a good marketing leader?
Okay. Well, I read an article recently by a chap called Greg Jarboe. And we'll put the link to the article in the show notes. And see the little chap behind you? It's a story about him. It's a story about a superhero. Now, I know superheroes are big for you, Haroon.
This guy over here?
Yeah. So earlier this year, there was a new film. And the new film was about Amazing Spider-Man. What was different was that they created history when they launched that. They did something that no one else has done before. They used technology in a different way to promote the film. Now, as you know, using YouTube to market and release a film is a little bit old school. That's nothing new. These guys took it one step further. So the director, Mark Webb, made some online marketing history. Do you know what that was, Haroon?
Do you know what? I don't, and I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and I should know this, but go ahead.
Okay. They did the first ever filmed-themed Google shoppable Hangout. Now, what the devil's that? So it was wonderful. So what they did was they got all the directors, the director in and the actor in the Hangout. Okay, well, that's standard. Um, Fans were able to do a Q&A, so send it in before the actual Hangout itself. But what was unique was that they used some new technology that they've developed at Google. So the audience could also pre-purchase tickets for the show over in the States. That's kind of neat. They could also rent or buy earlier films in the franchise using Google Play. And also, as well, they could buy the soundtrack as well. All this was linked and interactive whilst the Hangout was taking place. Now, we talk about innovation and we talk about it could just be the innovation process and doing something that's different, but in terms of measurement and being able to adapt and change to and take on board new challenges with new technology, I just thought that was a wonderful example of what the next step can be for Google Hangouts, and I think it'll set a precedent now for future films being released to do a similar thing.
That's a fantastic idea. I mean, there is no reason why you wouldn't do that if you're in the film industry, to use technology in such a great way, and I can quickly see other big budget movies doing the same kind of things. I mean, what was it called again? A Google Shop Hangout? Was that what it was called?
Shoppable Hangout. We'll drop the article which has got all the links to it in the show notes, Haroon.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean,
Google Shoppable Hangout, it was called.
Google Shoppable Hangout. Okay, so that's on an international level. That's really good. I'm going to pick someone local as an example of a good marketing leader, and she's been on the show before, and that is someone called Lauren Riley from Bubble Jobs. Now, I had a good conversation with Lauren last week, in fact, and you know, this is an example of a company that, I mean, I don't know Bubble Jobs. I've never worked there, but from what I perceive, they seem to be a company who are willing to embrace technology, to embrace new ideas, and to try them out. So, I mean, they've got their hashtags. You know, they've got DigiJobs Hour, which is a popular hashtag now, and I think they do that every week. They've also, I don't know if I can say this, they have something up and coming, which they are developing, and that's why Lauren rung me. But that seems to me to be like someone who is forward-thinking. I think there's another lady there called Amy. I've forgotten her last name now, but Lauren and Amy seem to be a good tag team, kind of like me and you, John, where they're trying new things out. We could be called the Legion of Doom. Do you remember those guys from WWF?
I do.
Yeah, those guys are awesome. But you know, they are trying new things out. They are consistent. I have to say, that DigiJobs Hour goes out every single week without fail. They don't seem to miss a week, so I really would say Bubble Jobs are definitely good. And plus, hey, Lauren's been on the show, so we're always going to promote our guests anyway. So we're going to leave it there today, guys. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. As John has mentioned, you know, there'll be a load of links in the show notes, so do check them out. You can catch Haroon's Hangout every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Greenwich Meridian time, where we believe innovation is the key to business growth. Next week, I'm going to have our special guest, which is, well, actually guests, which is going to be Tom Almus and Joanna Pease, who are working for Hope Park Business Centre in Bradford. So we're going to be talking to them all about how to look for the right social media person, how they use social media to promote themselves, and what effect it's been having for them. You know, and they're part of a charity as well, which is a fantastic success story, particularly for charities and for charities in Bradford. So until next time, from me, Spider-Man, and John the Major Stephenson, we'll see you next time, sports fans.
Thank you.